3.10d, Algebra 1, percent word problems. When solving percent problems, remember there are three basic types of questions. We discussed this in the previous video. They might be worded differently to fool us. So here's 6 different questions, but written only in 3 ways. These, number 1 here, what is 10% of 90, and 10% of 90 is what number, is the exact same question worded differently. We would solve it by turning the 10% into a decimal and then multiplying it by 90 and getting our answer. What percent of 50 equals 5, and 5 is what percent of 50, is the exact same question. It's just worded differently. We can let p equal the percent and do 50p times 5 and get our answer for p. And this third one, 8 is 20% of what number? 20% of what number equals 8? That's the same question. It's just worded differently. We would solve it by turning this into a decimal of 0.20, letting n equal the unknown number, and that is going to be 8. And when we multiply the 0.20 times n, we'll get the 8. See? So let's see what we've got here. Tala paid $633 in sales tax for her new car. The sales tax was 6%. What was the price of her new car? So we think, what do we need to find? We need to find the price of the car. And what information do we have? That the sales tax was 6%, and that equaled $633. Now we need to write an equation and solve it. So which of the 3 types of percent problems is this? We've got $633 is 6%. $633 is 6%. So we look for a number in the front. Okay, that's a percent in the front. That's a number in the front. Could it be 633 is what percent of... No, we've got the percentage. So it would be number 3. $633 is 6% of what number? 6% of what number is $633? So it would fall under number 3. So we're going to solve it by turning the percentage into a decimal, multiplying it by a variable to equal the 633. Okay? So we're going to rewrite it as this. 633 is 6% of what number, or 6% of what number is 633. We just took number 3 and plugged in our numbers for it. See? That's why it would be really good if you wrote these down, and that this is one type, this is another type, this is another type, and that this is how to solve them. Because if you keep this in your notes, you'll be able to reflect back on it and be able to say, okay, that's how you solve that type of percentage problem. See? So this one would fall under number 3, and we just plug in our numbers into this template, okay? So this is what we've got. We're using number 3, and that means we need to first change that 6% to a decimal. We're going to let C equal car. So 6% becomes 0.06. We just multiply it by 1/100th, right? What you do is you take the 6% and you multiply it by 1/100th, okay? And then that'll give you the decimal, okay? And that was in a previous video, and I'll have a link for that, okay? So remember, we had the decimal, and then the variable is going to equal the number. So we've got the decimal, 0.06, and the variable is going to equal the number, the 633. We can remove the decimal by multiplying both sides by 100. That'll move this decimal point behind the 6, so we'll just have a 6c. We multiply this by 100, and we get 63,300. Now we can use the multiplication property of equality and just multiply both sides by the reciprocal of this c. As 6 over 1, it would be 1/6. We do that to each side, and we get 6 over 6c equals 63,300 over 6. And when we do our line division, we see that 6 can go into 63,300 10,550 times. That tells us the price of the car before the tax. See? That's what C equals. Now, we also could have done it a different way. Once we were here at the 6C, okay, before we multiply it by 100, if you want to do it quicker, what we could have done was, here we have the 0.06c equals 633, see, right here. All we had to do is divide both sides by 0.06. When we do the long division, we move the decimal point over for the 6, and we move it over for the 633, and it's basically doing the same thing as this, multiplying both sides by 100 by moving that decimal place over when we do the long division, and we still get 6 goes into 63,300, see? And it's 10,550. We just got rid of this middle part, and we did it quicker by just moving it manually like that. It's the same thing as multiplying it by 100, okay? So either way is going to give you the right answer, okay? It just depends on how much you understand it and how quickly you can go, all right? So that's two different ways to solve a number 3 type percentage question, okay? All right, so now let's look at this. The price of a new iPhone 7 with 256 gigabytes is $849. If the sales tax is 8 1/4%, what's the amount of the tax and what is the total cost? Okay, think. What do we need to find? Two things. We need to find the amount of tax in money, and we need to find the total cost once the tax is added. So what information do we have? That the phone is $849 and the tax is 8 1/4%. So we write an equation and solve. So which of the 3 types of percent problems is this? We've got the price of the phone and we've got the percentage of tax. We've got the price of the phone and the percentage of the tax. So we've got the price of the phone, all right? We've got the percentage is 8 1/4. So it would be number 1. What is 8% of $849? So it would be number 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the percentage into a decimal and just multiply it by the $849, all right? So let's do that. We're going to plug in our numbers into the number 1 template. What is 8 1/4% of 849? 8 1/4% of 849 is what number? That's the same question. So we plugged in our numbers, and we're going to let T equal the tax, and we're going to let C equal the cost, because not only do we need to find out what the tax is at 8 1/4%, we need to then add it to the 849 to get the total cost. See? So we have 2. So the first thing we're going to do is turn 8 1/4% into a decimal. 8 1/4% comes out as 0.0825. We take the 8 1/4%, ignore the 8 for now. The 1/4% is going to come out as 0.25. And then the 8 will make it 8.25. All right? We just multiply the 8.25 times 1/100th, and we get 8.25 over 100, right? Because there's a little 1 down here. So it's 8.25 over 100, okay? And then when we simplify this, we get 0.0825. So that's going to be our decimal we're going to use as the amount for the tax, okay? We need to multiply 0.0825 by the total price of the phone, the $849. We do some multiplication here, and it was a little bit of work, but it wasn't that bad. It only took me about 90 seconds. And I got 70.0425. Now, money can't have this many decimal places, can it? Money stops here, doesn't it? After 2 decimal places for the cents. So this 0.25 can fall off because the 2 is so small, it's not going to make that 4 round up to a 5. If it was a 5, it would make that round up to a 5. But remember, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this number stays the same. So we got $70.04 as our amount of tax. So now we know the amount of the tax. And we know the amount of the phone, don't we? So now all we have to do to get the cost, C, is to add the amount of the phone to the amount of the tax. And when we do, it comes out as $919.04. So that's the total cost of the iPhone 7. So we have 2 answers, the amount of the tax and the total amount of the phone, okay? All right. So remember, to first change the percentage to a decimal, you multiply it by 1 over 100, 1 100th. And then you figure out which of the 3 types of questions it is. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Is it number 3? And when you figure that out, comparing the wording to it, you plug in your numbers into this template and it'll tell you how to solve it, okay? So see the link to my Algebra Word Problem playlist, because there's a lot of problems like this in that playlist. It's all Algebra Word Problems, okay? And I'm going to end here. I normally back up, but I'm going to end here in case you want to freeze this to start writing it down. And I hope this was helpful. I hope you're doing all right. Keep plugging away. We're going to do this together. We're going to get through Algebra 1, and then maybe I'll even see you in Algebra 2. All right? Have a great day. Bye.